guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope this video finds you happy and healthy if you are still currently stuck in quarantine, as we are the day that we're filming this video. Today I wanted to do a video talking about how I keep my living expenses low. If you follow me on this channel or my teacher channel, you know, and it is no surprise or secret, that teachers do not make the biggest salary in the world, but there are things that we can do in terms of the ways of living, minimalism, side hustle, that can make our lives just a little bit more comfortable. And that's definitely what I want to talk to you guys about today. If you're new here to my channel, welcome. My name is Kristen. I am a kindergarten through 8th grade music teacher, also an online teacher, vlogger, now voiceover actor who's just signed with a company. I'm very excited about that. More information on that in the future. But if you are new here, make sure to click that subscription button and the bell. I make videos here each and every week, and I'd love to see you guys around for the next one. Also down below in the description box, by your request, are things that I use each and every day in my online classroom, my brick and mortar classroom, when I'm vlogging, my equipment, etc. You guys always ask what I'm using, so I will always include it down below in the description box. Just to be completely transparent, none of those things are sponsored. They're just loved and used each and every day. And my question of the day, what are things that you guys do to keep your living expenses low? And I'm not talking like how cheap are you, how frugal are you. What are just things that you have found in your life that make it easier to save a little bit more money at the end of the day, or the end of the week, or the end of the year? I just paid my taxes, can you tell? So without any further ado, here they are, the top ways I keep my living expenses low. If you see me looking down during this video, it's because I have all my notes here on my phone. My current morning routine here in quarantine, is to let my kittens out on the back patio, and then I make notes and my schedule on my phone. So that's a long story. If you see me looking down, it's just me looking at my notes. Number one, I know my monthly income total. From my full-time job to my side hustles to my passive income, I have a pretty legitimate idea of how much money is coming in every single month. And like any good budgeting channel will tell you, having that number is so incredibly important. How do you know if you're keeping your living expenses low or living within your means if you didn't have that number? So if you're making a budget for the first time, you're new to finances, just sit down with a piece of paper and write out what money is coming in. With that knowledge, you can know, hey, if I cut XYZ from my budget, I'll have a little bit more money to save each and every week, month, year. You get the idea. Just have the sense of what is coming into your household each and every week, and you are on a great first step. Did I just give a thumbs up? Number two on my list is to always shop with a list, and that includes groceries, retail, home goods. Everything needs a list. Now on my other channel, I just did a what I spend in a month as a teacher in quarantine. That video hasn't gone live on that channel yet, and I will find a day to put it on this channel. But in quarantine, I found that I am not as rigorous with my spending and how much I spend each day or week, mainly because all of these days are like bleeding together. I will find a time to show you that, because you can clearly tell on my statements the days I go grocery shopping with a list and the day I just let myself aimlessly wander Aldi on an empty stomach with no list. You will see a very big difference in that spending habit, and I don't recommend it, but I was clear and honest about it, so I thought I would share it here. But always have a list so you know, and there are no surprise things ending up in your cart. Number three is to buy quality over quantity. I think a few years ago I did a video on the difference between being cheap and being frugal. I like to think of myself as a more frugal person, and the example I used then, I will use again. A lot of the clothing staples I keep in my closet come from a company called White House Black Market or Banana Republic. They are not cheap by any means. Like my jeans, if they're not on sale, they're pushing up in the $70 or $80 range. I usually get them when they are 50% off with like my 30% birthday coupon. I get them as cheap as I can. I kid you not, 70% of my pants in there come from White House Black Market. I have had them for at least 5 years. When I worked on cruise ships, all of our tea dresses and formal cocktail attire came from White House Black Market. That's actually how I got introduced to them. And I watched this clothing go through cruise ship washing and drying. And if you haven't done that, that is a rough life for clothes. And they would still come back to me looking fresh and clean and pressed, and I was sold on it. So while it's not cheap, the quality is good, and I would rather pay a little bit more for my work jeans and have them last year after year than go buy a cheap pair and replace it. Does that make sense? I also wrote bonus for number three, learn to borrow for things you only need one time. And for me as a girl, if I'm going to a wedding, for example, and I don't want to go out and buy a brand new dress for this one-time occasion, and my girlfriend has the same size as me, I might ask her to borrow her dress. Would I do it now in quarantine? No. But would I also be going to a fully packed wedding during quarantine? No. I'm just saying in general, if you have something that you need for a one-time occasion, you can use things like Rent the Runway to pay to wear something and return it, or you can find a friend to, barter or borrow. Those have really helped me. I also have a sister who's similar in size to me, so if we lived closer in proximity, or when we used to, we would borrow each other's clothes all the time. It was easy. So borrowing when you can if it's a one-time need. Number 4 on my list was actually one of my 2020 New Year's resolutions. Learn to be a fixer more than a replacer. What I mean by that, my winter coat had some tears on the inner lining back in December, and I really thought about going out and buying a new one. And then I said, Kristen, it literally needs a 20-minute stitch. Use what you learned in home ec in high school. So I went and dug out my black thread and needle. I stitched it up. I washed it in my washing machine on a gentle cycle, let it air dry, and now it looks and smells good as new. Learning to fix before replacing can help you in so many places in your life, whether it be holes in your clothes, an appliance at home. Now, if it is really broken and a safety issue, look into that. But if it's just an easy fix that you can do at home, it doesn't cost you a lot, look into becoming a fixer over a replacer. Number 5, I wrote share home costs. Have a roommate, spouse, or family live with you if possible. Now, you obviously know I live with my husband, but when I lived by myself in an apartment that I frankly could not afford. I'll be very honest, the apartment I lived in when I started this YouTube channel cost more than what I made in 3 weeks of rent. I could not afford to live there at all. I was like digging into my savings account, hence why I made this channel and shared my way of getting out of that. One of the things I did is I went and knocked on my neighbor's door, and she and I agreed to share an internet package. Where we lived, we had to use a certain internet provider. I think it was Spectrum. This is years ago. I'm trying to remember what it was called. So for one person, it was $80 a month for the internet. So what I did is I bought it and I paid for it, and she PayPal'd me $40 every month during her time there. So it cut our costs in half. Just finding ways to be creative that way. And again, having a roommate always helps. Living with your family always helps. And there is no shame in living with your family, at all. One of the biggest ways I got ahead financially was obviously working for a cruise ship where my room and board was covered for 7 contracts in 5 years of my life. But I've seen people who are just as far ahead as I am, maybe even more, because they spent the first 2 or 3 years, whether they be a teacher or a business person or someone working in the medical field, a lot of nurses that I'm friends with, they live with their parents that first 18 to 24 months. They save up that money and then they can go put an investment on a house, and they didn't put it into an apartment that they get nothing out of when they leave. I'm turning into my parents. Number 6 on my list is capitalize the internet for skills. Now, in quarantine, I have definitely done that. Right now, for me to take my dance classes and my cardio, I am doing Zumba online. You can YouTube it if you want. I'm using my husband's Nintendo Switch to play Zumba Burn It Up every day, but if you want to do it for free, just YouTube search Zumba Burn It Up. Someone is putting it online for free. I'm doing my voice lessons online, so I just have little tracks that I practice to every day. I'm actually even giving some students that I was previously giving music lessons to lessons online right now so they can keep getting ready for college auditions, which is amazing. I'm doing guitar classes online, and I'm finding piano music. I played piano for the last 20 years of my life, I want to say. So pretty proficient at it, but I find new pieces to practice, so I have that into my daily routine, and I find them online. Not to mention the large, vast amount of recipes I am finding online. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I've been making carbs in this house, and they have been a beautiful, beautiful thing. Point of this is just to capitalize on the internet. If you're already paying for it, get the most out of it. If you hear someone talking, it's my husband. He's making a presentation at an all-staff meeting right now. I'm so proud. Number 7, I wrote research for cheaper cable streaming service and cell phone plans. Absolutely. Look at what you're paying now and the service of what you are paying for, and then look around and see if there are any cheaper options. Do you have a neighbor that would share your Wi-Fi like I used to? If you live in close proximity with someone and it wouldn't obstruct, the quality of your internet, why not share with them? You're paying for it, why not? But point of that, research, and you don't have to be rude about it. If you find a cheaper cable plan and your current cable plan is willing to match it, maybe you stay with them. And if they're not, you can change it out. Or you can just not have cable. Number 7, also research your car insurance options. Especially right now in quarantine with less people driving, a lot of car insurance companies are giving people a rebate or a refund for these months that we are not using our cars. So it never hurts, just look into it and see if there's a way you could be saving some money. Number 9, cook in large batches to freeze and eat later. This has been a saving grace for me, not just because I hate cooking. I actually really like cooking, but in quarantine when I have all of this time, my body feels like, oh, I should be cooking. I have the time for it. And of course, when I feel like I should, a lot of times I don't want to. So the idea of having something prepped and frozen or prepared in the fridge has really helped, especially if we are going to Zoom with our families or have something come up later in the evening, like play games online with friends. It's really easy just to pop something in the microwave or the oven. There it is, it's ready for you, and it helps you not order on Postmates or Uber Eats, which I'm happy to say I have done 0 times in quarantine. Number 10 is to get creative in keeping social activities free. Things like potlucks, game nights, researching free entertainment options, or simply being together outside. This is something I recommend doing once our stay at home has been lifted. We can go back outside and be with friends and family more. Look and see what things are coming up in your area, especially after this quarantine. I bet you parks will be open for you to go and have picnics. You can find free activities on Facebook or any other community websites. Just look around. Also, there are a lot of Facebook groups popping up. A lot of them I'm joining and really liking. There are a lot of like living frugal, ways families with different amounts of kids or newlyweds are saving their money. It's really nice. So just go and Facebook search some group that you think would interest you, whether it be a finance group, a community of bloggers, a community of finding things to do for free with kids. Like, I can't make a video on that because I have cats, so. Oh, and I wrote a bonus out on my patio. It says, work with what you have. If you have a bike, ride bikes outside. If you have extra food, pack it up, have a picnic. That is what I wrote at the end of this, but definitely work with what you have. Because I can't go to Zumba right now, I'm working with what I have, which is Nintendo Switch. Is it as good as going to an actual class? No. But I like that it's pushing me to get my little 5 stars. If you played this game, you know what I'm talking about. You hold a remote in your hand, you do all the routines, and the remote can sense if you're doing the motions correctly, and if you are, you collect little stars. So I don't feel like I'm just doing it for no purpose. And I do get to record every day. I'm actually, while I'm filming this, working on a video called I Did Zumba Every Day for a Month, and I've been tracking like my weight loss, my intermittent fasting. I am not on keto anymore for those people that keep asking me. You will see a video on that next month in May. I think every Tuesday you guys will see a video about how I did Zumba every day in the month of April. I intermittent fasted and gave up keto. I tracked everything I ate on my FitnessPal. And then the last week of April, I walked 5 miles a day. So a lot of stuff is going on here. I'm very excited to share it with you all, just to kind of keep things interesting around here. If you have any requests for future videos, let me know down below in the comments section. That is it for today's video. Let me know once again down below what you do to keep your living costs low and live a happy, comfortable life. Please stay safe, stay healthy, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.